Hello, friends. How's everybody doing? Oh my gosh. Today's such a beautiful day. Today is gorgeous. So I'm just setting up my camera a little bit, making sure that I can read comments. There you are. Okay. Hi. How is everyone doing? I am having one of those days where I lost track of time. So I'm a couple minutes late, but that's okay. Hello. Today I want to play with Cake Day, which is a birthday set, or celebration, I guess. But before I do, I want to know, do you want to see the cards that we made in the virtual card retreat? Because I have them finished and right here next to me, and I could flip through them really quickly. That would be kind of fun, I think. Or I could wait to the end. Up to you. But let me grab them. So January is the month when I always make a lot of birthday cards because we have a lot of family birthdays in February. And so I just thought today I'm going to just stash bust like crazy, and I'll show you what paper I'm using. But I thought I want to show you these cards because the virtual card retreat is still available. Each card had its own video and instruction, and they are still available on the Facebook group, so you can see the cards. We also decorated all the envelopes with just a little something, but here is my least favorite card to make. I like how it looks. I like the idea, but I didn't enjoy making this one. It's the only one I didn't enjoy making. But there's one. Believe it or not, some of these florals were some of my favorites. And this one's interesting because we used flip-flaps on the inside, which I think it's really kind of fun. You can see that every card had a lot of detail, a lot of little fussy parts and pieces, lots of, these were like punch outs. There was embossing. Why don't I emboss more? What's with that? Embossing is so fun, and I just need to do it more. And each card just had something a little special. Every card had something to stamp, some ink blending. We stamped on the background, die cuts, embellishments. It was just each one. I would say this one was one of the more simple ones. It's just like your simple flap, using a die cut, interestingly. So that was kind of interesting. Lots of really fun, sunshiny cards. It was, at first, I had several people messaging me, is this really worth the money? Hi, Heather. And I was like, it's pricey, but I wanted to try it. I wanted to see how they did, and I think they knocked it out of the park, actually. We got 2 full stamp sets, a die set, to coordinate. One of them was a preview that's of things coming out in March. Isn't that fun? This is one of my favorite cards. This one was very unique and different, and I'm like, oh, I could use this technique on a lot of things. Yeah, these cards are gorgeous. These are not your standard quick, let's make it fast cards. And since everybody was doing these cards together, you were making them with a group. You didn't feel like you had to hurry through. I thought it was really nice. And I had a great time Kelly and Melanie came over and did their card retreats, and we all worked together. Yes. Hi, Christy. Yeah, I think these cards turned out absolutely gorgeous. This was my botched card because you know how I get, if they're working too slow for me, I work ahead, and I shouldn't have, because this was supposed to go here. This was supposed to go here. The message was, anyway, I turned it into a totally different card, but I love how it turned out. The papers that are in it were really actually very beautiful, and we had quite a bit left over to make more, which was really great. They showed several ways of using that giant background die, which was really fun. On the cards where I was a little behind, I did not decorate my envelopes very much because I was like, that can wait. This one had a lot of coloring, and I don't tend to like cards that tie shut, so I may do a button and wrap or something because I really like this card a lot, but I don't love the idea of having to tie it each time. So sometimes I'll put like a little something embellishment or something there and just, you know, wrap tie it. But this one I thought, my gosh, this could be sympathy, wedding. I mean, look how gorgeous that is. It's that embossing. I tell you what, I need to emboss more. I'm going to play around with embossing. I really, really like how these turned out. I think you can't look at it like, you cannot look at this like, you know, you only got 15 cards from from the whole class or whatever. You have to look at it as each thing was a technique, was a style, something that you learned. Are you talking about this one, Heather? This one was gorgeous. It was a stencil. We're like, please make this stencil for reals that we can buy. We want this stencil. This stencil's awesome. I absolutely love it. And yeah, it was a stencil. I think they turned out nice, really nice. So the whole thing to me was worth the time, worth the money. I learned a lot. I can translate a lot to other products. I do not know whether I'll keep all the stamp sets or whatever, but I do sincerely like everything we received and everything we made. And the instruction was really good. I would say there was one instructor who taught, I think, 3 cards, and she went too fast. She was a Stampin' Up designer, and I just think she isn't a teacher. She's a designer, and she did a great job. She actually designed all of the cards, I believe, for this class, and how beautiful are they? But as far as teaching goes, I think she should have handed that off. Or maybe just slow down. Everybody kept trying to get her to speak up and slow down. It took her a card or 2 before she got that. Yes, it would be a great stencil. Okay. So today, I'm going to make the cake day. I want to make birthday cards, you guys. Cake day is what I wanted to use. Now, when I first got this set, I absolutely fell in love because it is so my style. It's a giant piece of cake. It's going to cover a card. There's not lots of, I thought, not lots of little bits and bobs to the collection. So you can do a whole piece of ephemera, like one big piece of cake, and it will be the cover of your card, right? But actually not true. Look at the dies. There are so many dies. There is there is the cake itself, which can open, when you cut it out, it can open into a card in itself, or you can cut it in half and just use half of it. And I did a couple of those. There's all these little bits and bobs and pieces. So I've been busy. So you can see that there are pieces of frosting. I cut them in different colors. There's lots of little frosting blobs or whipped cream, whatever you want to call that. And that's what those look like. The little frosting. And I just thought that was really great. There's also, you know, this piece, the icing part of the cake that you can cut in different colors. You can stamp this frosting, or you can cut it out and stamp it like I did here. So here it's just stamped, and here I cut it out and then stamped it. You can, I looked at these little things like this, and when I first saw them, what I thought they were those candle holders. Remember the little flower-shaped candle holders that you would put on the cake as a kid, and then your candle would go into the center of them on top of your cake, and they held the candles. That's what I thought they were. But I since learned that, and look at that cool candle, you guys. I since learned that they're actually the frosting on the cookies. So you can, like the cookie has a little cut in it, and then this slides in. Oh, I got two of them together. I was like, why is this so thick? I've been cutting like crazy, so I stack things when I cut, so it cuts more than one. But look, an Oreo. Look at that. Isn't that sweet? So it's actually the frosting for the cookies. So I cut a whole bunch of cookies because I'm going to be making a scrapbook page soon. Look at this. Look, you can just stack a bunch of cookies around the bottom edge of your cake, or put them on the top of your cake. Oh my gosh, you guys. I think these are really sweet. So this is kind of a neat thing. Now, another trick I just wanted to show you while I'm playing around here. Because obviously I'm not going to make all this cake today. But there is this weird little die in here right there that will make the drippy part of like ganache, all right? And it kind of makes your frosting like that, which is really neat. And so one of the things that I've been playing with a little bit is the packing tape technique, where you put packing tape. Okay. So you put packing tape on over a piece of cardstock, and you can see that it's shiny. Hold on a minute. So I'm just using heavy duty packing tape. I put it over the whole thing and just started cutting pieces out. So when you cut the pieces out, you end up with a glossy, shiny surface, and you can take that and just rub it with that, and makes it, oh my gosh, look at that. Well, no need to be intimidated, because I'm going to make 2 cards today. And I have to admit, I put this one off for a while when I saw these pieces, because I'm like, oh, all that die cutting. But now that I have them all die cut, I'm like, oh, this is kind of fun to put together. I'm actually having a good time with this. So this pack of paper is called Splash of Sparkles, and it is 167-200. I feel like it's a little bit of a sleeper in that it kind of got lost in the release. It's been out for a little bit, and I just think that it's just not something that shows up well online. But this paper is so fun because one side of it has foil, and the other side is just more of a wash or a watercolor without foil. And so to me, this is like such a fun set for birthday. Now this particular design I'm going to use on my scrapbook page, so I'm going to set it aside. I don't want to be using that up by accident. But the other designs, there's this really fun stripe, the back. I don't have full sheets of everything. This like, if you look at this from above, it almost looks like it has floral, but it's really just watercolor. And look at how pretty this is. And it's silver, which is nice. I'm getting tired. It's almost like it's holographic. Do you love that? I really like this print. I've been using it a lot, and the other side is this purple, again with like the holographic kind of looking foil. And then this one, this is the one that I was like, oh yeah, birthday, totally. It looks like bright colors and confetti. Looks like a birthday thing to me. I could totally scrapbook this easily. And the back is just an orange kind of wash. Okay, and then I've seen a lot of people online making cards with these where they cut these out and then use this as the background for whatever. But I like this side too much. I don't think I could give up the other. And then this one, super fun. And I was like, oh, that looks like frosting, totally. And then the back. So I'm thinking Easter, birthday. I mean, seriously, this is really, and actually this is a pretty fun and colorful paper pack. You would just need to add your cardstock to it. I'm going to set this aside. Okay. So the first thing I want to do is I just want to make a basic card. And so I went ahead and I cut out the cake in pink, some frosting in like vanilla. And I went ahead and did my packing tape technique and cut this out of brown. And I can't remember what color that is. Espresso maybe. But anyway, so it'll look like that. My cake will look like that. And then I have this extra piece, and I didn't want to throw away my packing tape just in case I needed to cut something else out. And so before we make our cake, I want to show you the card. This is my go-to easy card. This is 4 1/4 by 11, and you just fold it in half. And then the front is going to fold back. It is a Z fold. So it makes a Z. I guess it makes a Z like this, not like this. But you get it, right? And then to finish off the Z, we need something on the front. So it will be this piece. Now, I really need to adhere this before I mess around too much. So I'm just going to really quick put this on. Z folds make great stash busters in my mind because I don't have to look up any, I don't have to look up all of the dimensions. I just know that my card's going to get folded in half and the front is going to get folded back. And that's basically a Z fold. Now, this piece, I'm going to let this dry a minute before I fold it, because otherwise you get wrinkles whenever you do weird stuff like this. So I'm just going to let that dry for just a sec before I fold this one. I'm going to put it aside. So on our card base, you need something. This is going to half show. So you can either put a pattern on the whole thing, or you can just leave it white. I want to put some pattern on this flap. It will show when the card is open. And then when the card is closed, like you fold the card, fold it back. When that card is closed, this is what I want on the front. Now here's where you decide where do you want this? Do you want this under here so it's poking out? Or do you want it on top of here? And I want it, I don't think it matters, to be honest, in my case here. But I think I want this under. So I'm going to let this, I really do want this to dry well before I start messing around. So let's make our cake. So this is an interesting thing. This cake could fold and it would open. And you could put that on that flip-flap card, kind of like I made last week. Or you can just cut it in half. And then you have two pieces of cake, right? So I'll use this other one, but this is the one I'm going to use today. And I'm going to, I mean, it would be really simple to just glue this on, and call it a day. Maybe put some frosting on there. But of course, I'm going to make it more complicated because, you know, who am I anyway? Oh, and here's like the Z fold using that blue paper with a green background. And I really like this. This green is bright, but this is going to be a really great, like, masculine card. Like, I can totally see me putting my cake on there and having it say happy birthday really big, or happy cake day, right? It's gonna look great. So that's why I made blue frosting and green frosting. I just have to decorate them. And part of the decorating is in all the little pieces. You know, you can like decide like what you want on your cake, right? Frosting, whether you want little tufts of frosting like that. I don't know. Whatever you want. Anyway, I'm going to play around just a little bit, so I'm making a little space. I feel like I have a lot going on here. The first thing I want to do is I want my cake to have some dimension, like it's been cooked, right? So I'm going to just put a little ink around the edge. Remember, this is going to mostly be covered up. That's why I'm not being too careful around the edges, but I do want it to look darker on the outside than it would be on the inside. Do you see how that gives it like an edge, like a border? Right? Like a halo. Anyway, and then you could put just a little bit, you know, around these edges. All right, I like that. And then I want some frosting. So I have to decide this frosting is off-white. I'm gonna get in here and grab a couple of these. I like this. And then I'm going to decorate it, I think, in pink. I could decorate it in brown. Let's see. I should use my packing tape because I have the super dark brown. Why not? Okay, let's do that. I like that. And so now I'm going to, I don't know, gosh, I feel like I need, no, it'll be fine. Should I make it this color or this color? Too many decisions. Hold on. All right, I want to show you the pink just because I want to show you what I did to give it detail. I just used the stamp and stamped on it, and it gave it the frosting detail. You don't have to. It looked fine without it, right? It's not necessary. And then if you have let's just say you have like a dark brown that you want it to have frosting detail, but because it's just a blob right there, I used my white pigment ink and inked it up just a little bit and then stamped that. And then you can see it gives it like, if it almost looks like if light was hitting it, it would have a shadow. And the white is so soft and it kind of fades that it's not it's not bold. Now you could do tone on tone. I could have done a dark brown on the dark brown and it would have been like a tone on tone. But I just wanted to show you some options, right? Okay. The next thing I want to do, I really want my frosting, what color? Not pink. I want my cake to have a pink look. One of the stamps. So there's a lot of options here. You can do your frosting. It could just have 2 layers. That's one stamp right there. And then there's this texture that gives your cake some texture. You wouldn't have to do any of it. It looks fine, but it does, like if you just wanted frosting lines with that, it would look fine. But I kind of like giving my cake a little texture look. And I'm just going to give it like 3 layers like that. And see how it's kind of soft. It kind of blends in. It's not like a big, bold, in your face kind of look. I like that. And then this vanilla frosting doesn't have to have any lines in it. You could just use it as is like this. And it would look like you had vanilla frosting layer. Or you can use this little line. Now I have shortbread, which is like the lightest color of tan. You could use a really soft gray or something, but I like how shortbread gives it texture without it being like brown or something. Or I think a really light gold stamped off on scratch paper ones would look great. And then stamped onto that. So I'm just gonna put my frosting on. The main thing is when you're putting your cake together is that you follow this diagonal right here. Because if you make this way, it makes your cake look wrong if you're not following the bottom diagonal of the cake. And when Denise came over and we were playing with this set and I was struggling with it, and one of the reasons I had such a hard time was because I thought this was the top of the cake and I could not figure out, because it looks like the top of the cake. It looks like the top of a slice, you know, like if you would I don't know. But of course, this just doesn't work no matter what you do. So if you turn it so this weird angle is in the bottom left corner, oh, everything lines up. I get it now. Yeah. Sorry, Denise. Sorry to make that confusing for you. But I think I did. Now, the other thing we could add to our cake is sprinkles. What we could just stamp it. We could do nothing. We could add sprinkles. We could add just a little bit of dimension using shortbread, which any super light color would work, just to give it like a little shadow. I'm surprised at how much adding just that little bit of shadow makes a difference on this. But it's pretty cool. It's cool looking. And I think I'm going to add, I'm just going to put this on. Remember, a lot of what I just did gets covered up, right? So we're lining up this bottom little angle, sliding that in place. We could just leave it like that. We could stamp sprinkles on it and we would have beautiful happy birthday sprinkles, just like I did on these. This one took me 2 seconds to put together because it was all just stamped all in brown. This one took me longer because I had to die cut pieces in so many, like in brown and pink, and then my pattern. And then this one, I, used several colors and the sprinkles. I like how that looks. And this one I'm going to use on my scrapbook page. I tried to make it look like cheesecake. So there's that. All right. Now we can add our ganache. It's a lot easier than making real ganache. I don't know how many of you bake, but this is easier. This is easier than baking in real life. I'm going to go ahead and pop up the frosting because I think it's pretty slick looking when it has a little dimension to it. Come on. I can't get the little topper off. There we go. I don't know why that one is like not sticking like it normally does, but I'll do that. And then I'm just going to add this here like that. Cool. There's my cake. Now, other things you could do, I mean, you could add a little dollop to the top. You could add another, frosting piece here. But I like this just the way it is, just like this. All right, now we're ready to put this on our card. So the first thing we're going to do is prep this piece. Now I had a whole bunch of these. This is 1 1/4 inch. You can make this any width you want. I've seen people do, really wide or make it go down the center, whatever you want. And easy, just no water. Funny. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to fold it in half just like we would a card. I could score it. It would be probably look a lot nicer if I did. And this piece is going to go here. So this piece back here gets folded back. Just like your card, it gets folded in half and then folded back. But it's not going to be easy on me. All right, so it's going to go on the card like this. And when it opens, you can see how that's going to look. I should have, I don't know, scored. When you apply adhesive to a Z-fold, I like to fold it up and put my glue on that side. Put my glue on that side. And then when you fold your card, it goes right there. And I'm just gonna hold that for a minute. So I'm gonna make a big batch of these because I have so many birthdays coming up. February is our birthday. We have like lots of birthdays in February, lots of birthdays in July. That's kind of our family. Everybody's got something like that. And I thought I'm gonna stash bust this entire pack of paper, and I'm just gonna make gobs of birthday and Easter cards. Even if I just make all the bases like this and have them ready for my Easter stuff, I'll be able to send them to JJ. I think that'll be really nice, right? Before I go any farther, I want to stamp happy birthday on there. I have this set. It's called With You in Mind, 164747. It is a $1 million set from Julie Davison. So many of us know Julie Davison because she lives in the same town. And so I really like this set, and I haven't used it as much as I thought I would, primarily because honestly I haven't been making like birthday cards and stuff, and I haven't been using this gigantor message like I thought I would. So I'm going to, this is new, I'm going to rub it on my hands. I want it to accept the ink really well without it beating up, right? And I think I want the happy birthday to be up here in the corner. It's going to show a little. It may not show 100%, but I think I'm going to use the dark brown. Usually when I do this, I stamp it onto a scratch piece of paper before I do it on my card in case it gets all messed up. But I figured I can always just put something on top of it if it doesn't look good. Perfect. My fix to that is, my thought is, well, if you do it right the first time, it's done. If you have to put it on a piece of paper and then put it on, it's so much work. And I would, if I have to fix that, I could stamp it and put a cardstock over it and nobody would know. But I don't have to since I did that. All right. And then we want our cake. Now you can put your cake anywhere you want on here. And I can decide, I can have it cover that up, and then I can put some candles or something over here, or some of those cookies. Oh, that'd be fun. I have scads of those cookies because I was having fun making them. I also have a lot of candles. If I wanted to, like, if you wanted to put your card, you know, a vertical card, you know, you could do candles. I'll show you that. I'll show you that when I do my scrapbook page on Friday. But I really do like this. The other thing that I think would look really nice on here is if you have a giant oval and you could put this on the oval, I think that would be really nice. So, yeah, I like the idea of having like the cookies along the bottom. Look at those cookies, you guys. Those are so cute. That is adorbs. Adorbs, right? All right. Yeah, I think I like this way. So I'm just going to put glue on the side and along the bottom. I don't want to put glue in there because I don't want to glue my card shut. And I think I'm going to put it over here. It covers up a lot of the happy birthday. That's fine. Make sure there's no glue globbing out back there. And then over here, I also cut some messages. I love this little yay. Right? Isn't that sweet? Oh my gosh. Okay, let me grab some more foam squares. I like that. I also cut some of these little, I think these are technically like this, the burst of, that goes behind the candle, you know, like that. But I think it would be really fun to have a few of these kind of scattered. This one's missing a little gold spot, so I'm going to move that so it, let's see, for some reason my gold foil cardstock that I had was kind of old, and it started peeling a little bit, and so that's why it's missing some of its color on there. The only Stampin' Up! Gold that I had was striped. It had like a texture, and I didn't want that for this. So I really like that. Yay. Happy birthday. And the other thing that I have is I have like this Happy Cake Day message that I stamped, and I think it would be really sweet somehow like on here. I don't know where I'll put it, but like even if I just put it here when the card closes, I'd have to put a bigger envelope. I'm not sure, but I do really like this. I could have cut this into separate words and then have Happy Cake Day down here at the bottom. And I love that idea. I want space for me to be able to sign though. So yeah, this is really cool. This would look really nice popped up. But I'm going to save that for my next card because I'm getting really close to being ready for my next card. I really love the little cookies. There's something about this one that looks like an Oreo that is like, Connie, that's the one. It's so cute. It's so cute. I'm just gonna put these on here. I like how these look. They're a nice decoration, and they were super easy to make because they take no amount of paper at all. I mean, while you're cutting out pieces of cake, you just throw these other little things on the corner, on the edge of your paper, and you have more. And then I also have these are those strawberry slush blend whatever dots, and I think those dots look really fun, so they're going on too. I think these are really great. Yay! Happy birthday. I love that. Okay, so there's one card. Isn't it great? What do you think of that hologram foil? It's so cool. It kind of reflects the colors that are around it. And so it kind of has like that pink look in certain lights too. Okay, now the other card I want to make, because everything has got to be complicated. I always make things harder than they have to be, I think. But I didn't want to decorate that whole cake and stamp everything. And I thought, well, a shaker would be fun. What if you just cut the pieces so there's a window, and then you put the Valentine sprinkles behind it? But then, of course, my Valentine sprinkles had all those little envelopes in it. Do you remember all the little envelopes? So, yes, I did it. I sorted them out of this pack. I took them out and I put them in an old container that I had from something else that I had used. Look at that. I know, that's crazy. But this is going to be used on some postage that I'm going to make coming up. So I'm like, it was worth it. It was worth it. I know it sounds crazy. I know it. But I think this will be a really fun card. Okay, so I'm making it a little bit different. This one is more, it's almost Valentine-y because it's red and pink, right? So this one I'm going to make a little differently. So standard card base, and I'm just going to go with white. And so I'm going to score this off camera at 4 1/4, and I'm just going to fold that like that. And while I have this open, I'm going to go ahead and stamp my happy birthday because I want it to be done. I don't want to have to do that later. Ta-da. Oh, I got a little smudge on there. That sounds like me. That's more my style. All right. So that one's done. And to cover up that smudge, you're wondering what I'm going to do. I'll just put a little cookie or a little frosting on it, or both. Isn't that cute? Oh my gosh, that's so cute. I got to do it. So there's a little frosting. There's the little cookie. There. Inside of my card, done. Okay. Set that aside for a moment. Now to make the shaker, here's what I did. You need 2 card panels the same size. These are a 1/4 inch smaller than my card base. Why did I do that? I don't know. I just grabbed 2 card panels. And then one of them is going to be the base of your shaker, and one of them will be the top layer of your shaker. And then I really wanted my shaker to have this paper on it. I like this cool paper. Remember, this is the one with the pink and the blue. It's so neat. And the back is the, like, what I call the rose print, because from a distance, it kind of looks like roses. Anyway, so what I did was I took the dies and I layered these together, and I obviously just laid the dies in place and ran them through my machine. I think that's fairly straightforward, but just in case, I just laid them out where I thought they would look good. You get 3 of these pieces. Now, I thought these pieces were the candles at first, and they could be. They could totally be the candles, but they worked so well as the icing layers. So I just laid those in place on my panel and ran it through. And then, because these were all together, my panel and this piece are exactly the same. And so I'm ready to glue this on here. Now, why did I need this panel at all? Well, you don't technically, but I'll tell you what, I feel like this DSP is so flimsy. I was kind of nervous that even with the acetate on it, it might be a little thin. So I wanted the cardstock panel. And so I'm just going to put those together. There. Now, this is going to be the front of the window. And so we need, if you don't put acetate or packaging or something on the back, your stuff's just going to fall through. So we have to put this acetate on. I have this acetate that has like a protective coating on it so it doesn't scratch. And you don't need it to cover the whole thing. You just need it to cover your openings. So I'm just going to trim this up. Now, acetate and liquid glue, it does work. However, it's slow to dry. That plastic, something about that plastic. So I'm just gonna put a little dry adhesive on here, and you could use tear and tape. It works fabulous. All right, now I'm just gonna put that acetate over. The main thing, again, it's just got to cover your openings, right? To make the shaker, now there's two things to know when you make the shaker. Whatever is in the background is going to show through. And I want my frosting to look like this. So having it be white on the inside is not the worst thing. On my sample, you can see I used some of that Valentine paper that I had left over from the scrapbooking workshop. Gosh, that paper's cool. I sure wish that one was in the regular pack. And it was nice to have the red in the background. So I could sponge a color onto the back of this to make it pop, but I think the white will work just fine. So, gosh, I feel like I need my powder tool. I got like static everywhere. This weather, it's like staticky. Now the other thing I did is I did my mailing tape trick and made ganache that was shiny. And then I just wanted to show you, I didn't cut it all the way, just so I could show you, I put that goozy thing on. I keep calling it goozy thing because I'm thinking about using it for my Nickelodeon pictures. I have a bunch of Nickelodeon pictures from when we went to Universal. And I think this would look like slime, you know, the green. I think that would be really cool. Anyway, so you just kind of cut that off there. And now this has acetate on it. So I can put this right on top of my acetate like a puzzle and use whatever adhesive that you want. The main thing is liquid glue looks terrible on acetate, so be careful. I say that knowing I'm the biggest slob when it comes to card making. It's really hard for me to be careful. All right, so while that's drying, I'm gonna apply my foam so that I can make my cool shaker. All right, so I'm gonna flip this over and we're gonna apply foam strips. Do I have foam strips? This is the question. Hold on a moment. Looks like I'm gonna open a new package. I know I have open foam strips around here somewhere. That's all right. I go through these like crazy. I have multiple packages. I love them. These are a nice thickness for shakers, but if you feel like you need it to be thicker, all you have to do is fold it in half. And it's shorter, but it is a thicker window, right? And the main thing, of course, with a shaker is that you want your edges to touch together because you don't want anything to escape around the outside. No runaways, right? So I also, when I do shake, oh look, foam strips right in front of my face. You guys were probably screaming, look down. It's right there. It's right there. Oh, brother. Anyway, I like to make my foam really tight to my window, so because otherwise the shaker stuff will fall into pockets. You know, like if you left this giant gap down here, your shaker stuff would fall down when your card was upright and you wouldn't see it unless you tilted. So that's why I try to make my first window tight. And then I just want to prevent sagging after that. So right now I'm just adding some foam so that my card doesn't sag. It doesn't have to be filled in or whatever, but no sagging. I could put a little strip in there. Nah, I'm not gonna do that. All right, ready to fill. So here's what I'm going to do. I could just put them on here, knowing that if I keep them right there, I'll probably be fine. I might do that. Sometimes I'll fill directly into the well, but if you bump it, and I do a lot, sometimes all the shaker bits will stick to your adhesive, and that's really annoying. So I'll do it this way today. What's everybody else got going on? I was outside this morning helping. I was finishing shoveling my father's drive at the base. Their plows in the county don't come by right away, and so gosh, yeah, they plowed the driveway, you know, after I had shoveled it. So I had to redo where the plow went through. Why am I using so much? I don't know. I don't want it to get stuck. One thing I've noticed, it's really tempting to use really fat foam tape. And I did on this one. I doubled up my foam tape and it's really fat. And what happens with those little hearts is they flip sideways. I think you can see one right there. And then it gets caught in there and it takes a lot of effort to shake it down. See how it's like tilted? So if you use a little bit thinner foam tape, it'll keep everything flatter. But that also means you can't have this too full. And I would say no more than like a double layer, because you're going to run into stuff getting stuck. All right, so I'm just going to put that on there. Go around the edge. Oh, there's my ganache coming up. All right. That looks great. I think that looks really cool. And I like how it looks like frosting. So I'm just gonna shake it around and make sure, see how it all goes behind the frosting if you shake it really high up, but it gives it room to move. I like that. I bought 2 of these and it's a good thing because look, I'm almost gone with that one. All right, now, where's my card? Dun, dun, dun. Okay, I have my card. I'm gonna put this on here. I really, really like how this looks. It's gonna get handled a lot. I'm using a lot of adhesive. Because of the way I made it, I can totally see people picking it up and messing with it, right? So you want it to be sturdy on there. Ta-da! Ta-da, ta-da! Now, that cake day, I can put that across the front. I really love that. Happy Cake Day. And I really like, let's see, I'm looking through my stash of stuff here. I could put a candle on the top. The problem with the cake is it's really made for more for a vertical card. And so one thing I've noticed is I didn't make any of my cards vertical. All my cards were horizontal because of the way I wanted to use everything. So I'm gonna have to play with the candles when I do my scrapbook page. Happy Cake Day, that is so sweet, I love it. And then I can do some frosting. You know, I used the ganache there, so I could use the ganache right here. I like that. I think I will. Put that back there. And then I really like the dollops on the top, and I could use any color. I like that a lot. The other thing I could do, I could put something here. On one of my cards, you know, I tucked those dollops of frosting behind that frosting, but I don't think I will. I like this. I like this a lot. This is the way it's gonna be. All right. So I'm gonna just glob on some glue and make it happen. Holding it down for just a moment. Sweet. I really like it. And I could put yay. Look at that. Wah. You guys, this is cool. One of the other stamps that's in this set that's kind of cool is just a plain dot. It's just a dot. And all my stuff has gotten moved around. I have no idea where my stamp set went to. Hold on. Okay. See those little dots right there? I really like how those look. And I like this style of stamps and these little texturizing kind of stamps, where you can just add a little something. So, I think it really helps to have this kind of thing. just to add a little something to your card. You can make a border. Fun. Okay, so let me show you all the cards. We did this shaker just now. This is the shaker that I made ahead of time using my leftover Valentine paper. And look at the cookies. I sponged some ink on them to make them look toasted. Maybe not the perfect color, but I did do it. And here I use that technique with the white pigment to give it that look. I didn't emboss it or anything. I just used the white pigment. And then we have this one, which is, hi Melanie. I was just telling them that you came over and did the card retreat with me. That was so fun. I had such a good time. I'm gonna add that. I love it. Ta-da, ta-da. I thought I had another one. I will have more. I will have more on Friday. I'm going to make a scrapbook page using this set. I really like how these look. And these are kind of fun to put together after you have all the crazy pieces cut. Cutting out all the pieces is never my favorite part, but it's just something I do while I watch TV. It's just something fun to do. So I hope that you guys like this. Let me know what you think. And I will chat with you later. Bye-bye.